I watch you, it doesn't sound like other fighters. When you hit guys, it sounds like you're hitting a bag, there's a thud. When you sink it in there, do you know?
Yeah, I know. Your body don't lie. You know, it's just certain little things, like they might breathe a little bit different, they might, you know, inhale heavily, or, you know, the body might dip down. You hit somebody a body shot and they kind of drop a little bit, or their posture changes, or their hands are no longer, you know, up, it's down by where their body is. It takes a lot out of it. It takes your legs, your wind, everything. So it's hard to recover.
Takes your heart.
Take your heart to it. It's hard to recover from a body shot.
Do you remember the moment where you first really, really hit a guy? Where you understood, oh wow, I can hit?
It was the silver gloves. I hit a guy and knocked him out, and he was saying that he couldn't move his legs, and I was like, man, you know, I can crack.
You start to really smile with that recollection of the silver gloves. Like, you know, you don't talk loud, you don't boast, you don't, but I can see you come alive when you talk about knocking that guy out. What'd you hit him with?
Hit him with straight left. I mean, who doesn't love knockouts? That's the, you know, the ultimate way to win in boxing, the knockout.
Did he tell you he couldn't move his legs?
No, he was yelling it out to the he was yelling it out to the.
Look at you trying not to laugh. He's trying not to laugh.
He was yelling it out to the referee in the dock. So I kind of heard him from across the ring.
And then you knew you were big and bad, huh?
Not big and bad, but I knew I accomplished something.
That feeling you get, though, when you hit someone well, when you knock them down, when you knock them out, it's addictive, is it not?
Definitely. You know, it's definitely addictive. Even when I first turned professional, I was disappointed in my first fight that went the distance, and I think a lot of reasons was I was rushing it.
You've been the most talked about talent in boxing for a good while. Why is that?
I think it's just the way I fight.
Knocking people out.
Knocking people out, and I'm in the ring, I'm passive aggressive. You know,
That's one way to put it.
I'm a boxer puncher. You know, I don't come at people reckless. You know, I take my time, I break my opponent down, and you know, I am the sweet science. That's what I do in there. I use angles, I box, I find people's weaknesses and expose it and use it.
There you go. So when I think every time you step, you position your next punch with a roll. Put it to the side. Put it on. You go back and see what's coming down. Nice. To the side. Good boy. Beautiful. Which one am I? Go in first. Go in first. All the way out. Through the knee. Keep. That's what we're doing.
Beautiful, he's finally awake. Thought he was asleep for a long time.
So you say you wouldn't do nothing like that for him?
What's that?
When I say your man to say you'd be willing to vacate
Vacate, what, to not fight Crawford?
Fight Errol Spence before fighting Crawford.
Oh, look, man, I'll fight any of them, man, honestly. I'll fight any of them, but whatever makes sense, you know, whatever's easiest to make.
Do you prefer either guy first up, Spence or Crawford?
Yeah, whoever, man. It really doesn't bother me.
So after the fight, Errol Spence went up in the ring. He obviously wants that fight now with Fundora. So do you get to see that? What is your reaction to that?
With who? Fundora and Errol Spence?
Yeah, Errol Spence went in the ring and...
Oh, yeah. Interesting. I'd love to fight Errol Spence as well. I'll spend up to my record. Let me know if you want to get it on sometime.
Ladies and gentlemen, and we'll have our fighters now get ready to face off.
Out back by the TV camera first. And down in front, please. Now you can face off. Alright, I think we're good. Thanks, fellas. Errol will be on the other side there to do his interview.
Once one of the hottest names in boxing, Errol Spence Jr. saw his career shaken after a devastating defeat that left many believing his best days were behind him. But on July 25th, the boxing world could witness one of the sport's most dramatic comeback stories. After nearly 3 years away from the ring, Spence is finally stepping back into the spotlight with hopes of reclaiming championship glory. Standing in his way is Tim Tszyu in a dangerous 154-pound super welterweight showdown set in Australia. Fighting on enemy soil may give Tszyu a slight edge, but for the 36-year-old Spence, this bout means far more than location or advantage. Fans around the world are eager to discover whether the truth still possesses the fire, skill, and dominance that once made him one of boxing's most feared champions. During their latest face-off, Spence delivered a chilling warning to Tszyu, declaring that he's coming to Australia not just to fight, but to wage war and conquer hostile territory.
What is it that he said online that kind of upset you and didn't want to shake his hand for?
It's a lot, just, him being just dismissive. Just saying little things and, how he gonna retire me and just saying little stuff. And man, this at the end of the day, this is a war. I'm coming into a foreign territory. He's coming to retire me and, take my name, and I'm coming to foreign territory and, conquer his stadium, conquer his country. So I don't think there's no need for just shaking hands and ha-ha, and then next thing you know, we trying to knock each other head off. Like I told him, I'll shake a hand, give you a hug after the fight. But right now, it's game time, it's war time.
Errol Spence Jr. made it clear during the latest press conference that he is returning with serious intentions, as tensions between him and Tim Tszyu quickly escalated. Both fighters exchanged heated words and promised destruction on fight night, but Spence especially spoke with renewed intensity and confidence. He admitted that after a 3-year absence, many people question whether he still has the sharpness that once defined him, yet he promised fans they will witness a stronger, smarter, and more complete version of himself on July 25th. According to Spence, the long layoff allowed him to fully heal mentally and physically while also enjoying life outside boxing with his family. Still, he always knew he would return once the timing felt right. Now fully refreshed and motivated, Spence says he cannot wait to silence the Australian crowd by delivering a dominant performance that reminds the world exactly why they once called him the truth. For Tim Tszyu, this fight represents another opportunity to prove himself against elite competition, and he expressed gratitude for sharing the ring with a star as accomplished and dangerous as Errol Spence Jr. Throughout his career, Tszyu has consistently pursued the toughest challenges available, and despite holding the hometown advantage heading into this matchup, he still views Spence as a major threat capable of changing the fight in an instant. During his opening remarks at the press conference, Tszyu remained calm, composed, and direct, choosing not to engage in lengthy trash talk. Instead, he confidently told the fans in attendance that victory would belong to him on fight night, sending a clear message that he fully expects to defend his territory and protect his status in front of his home crowd.
Just want to say thank you to PBC, thank you to No Limit, thank you to everyone for making this fight possible. I've always been a guy that chases the toughest and baddest challenges out there, and when I got presented with Errol, who's undeniably one of the best fighters of this decade, I didn't hesitate, and I straight away accepted. I accepted not to compete, but I accepted because I knew that the victory is only on my mind. I know the challenge that is put in front of me. I'm going to work super hard, and I'm coming for it all. And thank you again. Victory is mine.
To many fans, Errol Spence Jr. returning from retirement so suddenly and choosing to fight halfway across the world feels like an unexpected and risky move. But according to Spence, this comeback was carefully timed around one thing: readiness. He explained that he chose to return now because he finally feels mentally focused and physically prepared to compete at the highest level again. While members of his team initially recommended taking a tune-up fight to ease back into action after such a long absence, Spence completely rejected the idea. Instead, he insisted on facing a dangerous top-tier opponent like Tim Tszyu because only a serious challenge could truly motivate him. Spence also dismissed concerns about fighting in hostile territory, reminding everyone that competing in another fighter's backyard is nothing new for him, and he admitted that silencing an entire Australian crowd with a victory would make the moment even sweeter.
We have seen the social media, we've seen fans, as you mentioned, asking, when is Errol coming back? When is Errol coming back? We've seen numerous fighters call you out wanting to fight Errol Spence. Why did you decide to come back, and not only come back, but come back against Tim Tszyu?
I just felt like it was the right time because I didn't know if I was coming back or not. I just knew that, one day, I might wake up and be like, I want to come back. And, the day happened. And then I talked to, the Cubans, I talked to Al, and we was going through a few names. And, they at first they had their reserves. Justly, they wanted me to take a tune-up fight, but I told them I don't take tune-up fights. I want to fight somebody who's gonna get me up for the challenge. And they said, what about Tim Tszyu? And I look forward to that. I've been doing that since I was an amateur, fighting in other people's countries. I've been to Russia, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan. So this is nothing new to me. Kilbrook, England, Sheffield. So this is nothing new to me. I look forward coming to Australia. And, just showing the fans who I am, and, the gratifying moment of looking up after the fight and seeing how everybody left the arena because they were disappointed.
After hearing Errol Spence Jr. confidently predict victory on Australian soil, Tim Tszyu fired back with a warning of his own. Tszyu argued that Spence should have accepted a tune-up fight first to readjust to the intensity and pressure of real competition after 3 years away from the ring. He cautioned that things could turn ugly for Spence from the very first bell. Spence, however, completely dismissed the idea of ring rust, calling it more of a mental obstacle than a physical one. He insisted that if a fighter performs well in training camp and sparring sessions, they will perform just as well under the bright lights. Although his team initially pushed for a warm-up bout because of the lengthy layoff, Spence refused to compromise, saying he has never believed in tune-up fights. In his eyes, only elite competition can keep him fully motivated, and he remains convinced that his physical condition and mental sharpness make any warm-up unnecessary.
You obviously, since Errol's been out 3 years. You've been in championship bouts. You've been in wars. You've been very active. Do you think Errol made a mistake by picking you in his comeback fight?
Yeah, it's definitely not recommended, you know, to go straight into the firing line. It would have been better to start off slowly, but, you know, on his caliber, he feels like he doesn't need tune-ups, which is fair enough. But yeah, it's going to be fireworks from the opening bell.
Back to you, Errol. You know, as I mentioned, Tim's been in championship bouts and whatnot over the last 3 years. You're obviously now with Ronnie Shields. The question I'm sure people have is, you know, 3 years with the layoff, how are you going to combat maybe the ring rust or the potential layoff as you prepare for this fight against Tim?
Ring rust is nothing but a mental thing. If you have a training camp and you look good in training camp, you look good in sparring, why can't you look good in the fight? That's a mental barrier you're talking about, and that's why people need tune-ups. Like, I feel like I don't need a tune-up because, I mean, the proof is in the pudding when you're in the gym. You know how you're going to fight once you're in the gym and when you train and when you're sparring and working out and stuff. You know how you feel. So if I feel good in a training camp and I feel good in sparring, I'm going to feel good in the fight. You know, I'm mentally ready, physically ready. I feel like me and Ronnie Shields have a great game plan. Ronnie Shields been through this numerous of times. So, I mean, we'll be 100% ready for anything that, you know, he could bring to the table.
While Errol Spence Jr. carried himself with visible confidence throughout the press conference, Tim Tszyu also made it clear that he feels fully prepared heading into this dangerous matchup. Tszyu brushed aside suggestions that fighting such a high-profile opponent at home creates additional pressure, insisting that he is focused only on winning. Spence responded with the same fearless attitude, once again emphasizing how satisfying it would be to defeat Tszyu in front of his own fans on Australian soil. He also laughed off concerns about pressure and hostile crowds, reminding reporters that he has already fought in multiple countries throughout his career. For Spence, this environment is familiar territory, and he believes the atmosphere, the fans, and the location will not change the outcome once the opening bell rings.
This is a fight, obviously, it's in your own backyard. You obviously, I'm sure, feel excited about it, but do you feel an added sense of pressure knowing he's coming to you in your country, in front of your countrymen, to face you?
No, definitely no pressure. I'm just excited for the opportunity to be fighting in Australia. You know, as we mentioned before, this is going to be one of the biggest fights in Australian boxing history. You know, and that's what it's all about, is bringing these super fights back home. I've had the pleasure of fighting here in Las Vegas and fighting all around the world, but there's no place like home, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And now back to you, Errol. I mean, you, I'm sure, could have potentially had this fight here, but you decided you're going to Australia. You want to face Tim in his backyard. Why did you make that decision to go over to Australia?
I'm about moments, and it's something that I enjoy. You know, I don't know if it's just, you know, some type of sick gratification, but to fight somebody in their hometown and fight them in front of, you know, their countrymen, and to beat him in front of how many thousands of fans is going to be, that's going to be a great moment for myself. And you know, I like that feeling. I like the feeling when I went to Sheffield and did the same thing, and I'm looking to do the same thing again.
Ronnie Shields also appeared at the press conference and spoke with complete confidence about Errol Spence Jr. heading into this comeback fight. Shields explained that throughout Spence's career, one trait has always stood out above everything else: his ability to rise to another level when the stakes are highest. That belief is exactly why the team has no hesitation about traveling to Australia to face Tim Tszyu on his home turf. Shields noted that he has followed Spence's journey from the beginning and has consistently seen the discipline, dedication, and conditioning required to compete among boxing's elite. Having already defeated world-class opponents in difficult environments before, Team Spence feels completely comfortable entering enemy territory once again. Most importantly, Shields remains convinced that Spence will deliver another memorable performance when the pressure is at its peak.
Ronnie, you're going to be in Errol's corner for this fight. How did the relationship start, and what have you seen from Errol already as you guys have been starting to get the training going?
Well, I've been watching Errol a lot, through his whole career, basically. So it's nothing that I haven't seen. So, but the thing about it is, he's going to be in great shape, and like he's always been in all of his fights that you've seen. So, but, the thing about it is, he gets up for big fights. And that's what people don't understand sometimes, is that you got fighters and then you got fighters. But you got fighters that get up for the big fights. This is why he doesn't mind going to Australia. He's been to all these other different countries fighting the supposedly best out there and has beaten every one of them. So we're just looking forward to going to Australia and just do what he does best. And that's what.
As Errol Spence Jr. continues preparing for his comeback with visible confidence, former world champion Shawn Porter has publicly supported the idea that the 3-year break may actually benefit Spence rather than hurt him. Porter believes Spence still possesses the hunger and competitive fire that made him one of boxing's most dangerous fighters, pointing out that he has remained active in the gym and stayed away from destructive habits since his loss to Terence Crawford. According to Porter, Spence genuinely loves the brutal and physical nature of boxing, and that passion, combined with the financial rewards of the sport, continues to motivate him. In Porter's eyes, the comeback decision is simple. Spence still enjoys fighting, still believes in himself, and still feels capable of competing against elite opposition despite the long layoff.
You heard in the scrum, well, you probably didn't hear, but in the scrum there was some commentary about just asking Errol, why are you here? Why are you doing this? He says that the fire never left. You met with him. What did you glean from your conversation with him?
Fire never left. He's, like he told me, he's been moving, he's been active. It hasn't specifically been boxing, but in his mind, and I'm inclined to agree with him, I've been moving, I've stayed away from the negative vices that I've had, and I've just been with my family. He seems like he's in a good, positive space. And I think that for him, for some of us, this is work. For other people, like some guys really love this thing and can't live without it and all that kind of stuff. I think for Errol, it's like a little blend of both. Like he loves boxing, he loves this aggressive, physical nature of this sport, and on top of that, he get to make money doing it. So I think that when he says, well, when the question's presented to him, why are you here? The answer for him is, I can still do it, and I still like it, so I'm going to do it.
Shawn Porter also discussed Tim Tszyu and the inactivity surrounding both fighters as he analyzed this intriguing matchup. Porter described the fight as a perfectly balanced clash between two men who may no longer be at their absolute physical peak, but still possess enough power, skill, and toughness to create something explosive inside the ring. He believes their current levels now closely match in terms of speed, punch resistance, and overall sharpness, making this a dangerous who lands first type of battle. Porter predicts the fight likely will not reach the 10th round because neither fighter is known for backing away or relying heavily on defense. While both men remain fundamentally strong boxers, Porter believes Spence's superior timing and ability to pivot could become the deciding factor against Tszyu, who sometimes reacts a step too late during exchanges. Ultimately, Porter expects an all-action war fought aggressively in the center of the ring.
And on the other side of the coin, Tim Tszyu.
Yeah.
The Milkazayev debacle that happened, came back, got himself a victory, goes in with Sebastian Fundora 2 times. I mean, and you talk about the first fight being a bloodbath back a couple Marches ago.
Right.
Just recently was stopped by him, and then comes back and gets on the winning side of things, but kind of up and down, looking like maybe he's kind of circling the drain career-wise. But when you talk about the matchup and you match the skills, what Errol Spence does well or what Tim Tszyu does well when he's on, what type of matchup, I mean, how good of a fight are we talking about getting when these two guys actually get together on fight night?
Yeah, I think it's funny enough, neither of them are what they were. For Tim, he's not what he was 2 years ago. For Errol, he's not what he was 3 years ago. But for who they are now, in my opinion, they blend like almost perfectly, right? So at one point in time, you could say that Errol was probably faster. You could You could say that Errol was probably stronger. You could say that Errol probably had this, had more fundamental, or was more fundamentally sound. The teeter was probably like this for Errol in so many ways. And it's like this now because of so much that they both have gone through.
Right, the scales have balanced.
Their speed is probably the same. Their power level is still probably the same. Their ability to their punch resistance level was probably the same.
Yeah.
This is it's a really good fight. I'm inclined to believe this is probably who gets him who first kind of fight. And if it doesn't happen in the first round or the second round or the third round, we've probably got a great 4 or 5 rounds that we've had before it happens. I don't think this fight's gonna go into 10 rounds because both these guys are coming in like literally for the head.
Right.
And like you said, Tim's the kind of guy that if you are there to be hit, he's gonna catch you.
Right.
And there's this weird breakdown that he's had on past opponents that Errol has had. Just this weird breakdown where somebody was at 100% and then now all of a sudden they're at 80%. Nothing aesthetically, you're just pushing forward, doing what you do.
Right.
And both these guys have that same style, you know what I mean? I think they both want that middle of the ring clash. I think they both believe that they're gonna win. The other one's gonna win that middle of the ring clash. So
While
Even
most
though many
experts
boxing
are gloating
experts
over how
continue
Spence
praising
looks
how
incredible,
impressive Errol
fans
Spence
see a
Jr.
completely
looks ahead
different
of his
picture.
return.
Social
A large
media is
portion
full
of
of
fans
comments
remain
about how
deeply
this could
concerned
end
about what
badly
can
for
happen once he
Spence.
steps
Some
back
even
into
wish
the ring.
that he'd stay retired.
Across social
Nevertheless,
media,
it's going to be a
countless comments
massive
suggest
fight
that
with
this
two
comeback
fighters
could
looking
end
to prove
badly
their
for
worth
Spence,
as they
with
head
some
toward the
supporters
tail
even
end of their
wishing he had
career.
stayed
We'd
retired
love to
rather
hear
than
from you,
risk
though.
further
Who do
damage
you
so
have
late in
winning
his
this
career.
fight? Can Errol Spence prove his
Still,
worth in this
despite all the
comeback
doubts and
match?
criticism,
Drop your
this
predictions
remains
in
a
the
massive
comments.
fight between two
That's all
determined
from
fighters
today's
desperate to
video.
prove
If you
they still
enjoyed it,
belong among
remember to leave a
boxing's
like,
elite as their careers
subscribe,
approach the
and
final
ring that
chapters.
bell icon so you
Now the big
never miss
question
our
is yours to
upcoming
answer.
videos.
Who wins
and
this fight?
don't forget to share your thoughts
Can
in the
Errol
comments
Spence
section.
truly revive
Stay
his
tuned,
career and
we will
remind the
catch
world
you in
why
the
he
next
was once
video.
feared across? Thanks for watching Boxing World TV Boxing Glove. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more non-stop boxing action, fight highlights, and champion moments every week.